Mm.
Hey everyone, so glad that you could join us today. I want you to sit back, relax, grab a coffee, something to drink, and we're just going to just join the conversation. I have a I have a special guest with me today, Shenee Woodson, and welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you, Linda, for having me. I'm excited to be with you today.
It's great. And you live in Virginia, you said.
Yes, I'm actually originally from Baltimore, Maryland. See how I said Baltimore, but yes, I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland. But I've been living in Virginia now like a year, about a year now.
Okay. Oh, only a year. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm in the middle of Canada, so we're different time zones, and it's always interesting to connect with people from all over the place, and definitely technology's brought everybody together. So I love that.
Yes, it definitely has. And
Yeah.
I haven't been to Canada in a while. I usually go when I see my brother. He lives in Niagara Falls, New York side. And usually when we go there, we jump over to the other side. But that's about yeah, that's the only time I go to Canada when I go see my brother. That's about it.
Well, that's nice. No, that's a nice place to visit. That's a
Oh
nice
yes,
place.
I do love it. I love Canada.
So, Shanae, you're a pastor's daughter. You grew up as a pastor's daughter.
Yes, I did. I'm a PK, preacher's kid.
Yeah.
Both of my parents still actually in ministry.
Okay.
Um, they're actually doing community events and stuff in there where they live at. So I'm still proud of them. I'm a proud kid of them. But yeah, I grew up as soon as my first word coming out right out the womb was church. That's all I knew. Coming out, I was a church kid in school. Everybody knew. It was no one who did not know that Shenee was a church girl, preacher's kid.
Yeah.
So there was no secret at all.
No, that's an opportunity and a privilege to grow up in that type of
Mhm.
legacy, and that's a whole story in itself. But that's not the one we're focusing on today. And I know you have tons of stories because you told me a little bit. Now you have some a music background, and you had said that you wrote and directed your first children's Christmas musical at age 18.
Yes, I
That's
actually,
huge.
yeah, I
You wrote
stumbled
and
on that. It was almost by mistake. The youth director at the time, when I was there at the church, I was attending a church called Word of Life, and
okay.
they was saying, they was trying to get something together, something different for the children, and I just said, hey, I think I have something, and I put something together, and the kids they performed it, and I said, oh my goodness, I can't believe it, I just did a musical. And
Good for you.
it was really exciting just to see it, especially at a young age like that, to see it unfold right before your eyes. And it was exciting, exciting. Like I said, I didn't even think I was capable of doing it. And the person at the time, her name was Miss Mildred. She said, "You can do it, Shenee. Go ahead. I think you can handle it." And I did. Now, just having an adult to say at my young age,
Yeah.
you got this. You
Yeah.
have it. Yeah.
And that's just a good example of the words of encouragement. We don't
Mhm.
know where those words are going to go and where they're going to land and what they're going to grow in other people.
Yes. And that church, I will say, gave me a lot of encouragement and really pushed my gifts, even down from playing the piano. I was playing the piano, I was on the praise team, I was doing all that. Like I wasn't even 20 yet. So just being so heavily involved really helped, me see what my gifts are and even my passions. And really
Mhm.
push those forward. And the pastor's wife at the time, she said, we're going to utilize every gift that you have in this church, and they did. They really did.
That's
So I'm
really,
very grateful and thankful for that. Um,
yes, because
yeah.
you were mentored into it. Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. Because just on your bio here, so that's when your creative gifts really emerged, and you
Yeah.
became the managing editor and contributing writer for several national publications.
Yes, a few publications at the time. I was asked to be a contributing writer. Then, just seeing my passion for writing and just my skills as far as editing, and I was also trying to do a little bit of artistry at the time, and graphic design, and it just cultivated from there. And I found myself, becoming the managing editor for this magazine or contributing writer for that magazine. Until at the time, when I was married, then we ended up doing our own magazine together. So that was a huge leap because I really, aside from being a managing editor, I really didn't know what it entails to be the actual publisher of the magazine. So it was a lot of trial and error in that. But it was a good time, a good time. A lot of doors was open that
So
period.
was that your magazine called His Favor?
No, that was actually Indie Mogul magazine, which is still in
Okay.
existence, but it's under
Oh,
my
okay.
now ex-husband. At the time I was married. But his favorite magazine grew from Indie Mogul magazine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because then you went on to do His Favor magazine.
Yes.
And then that was in 2018.
Yes.
As well as His Favor Teen, which is
Yes.
incredible to do that. I mean, the kids
I
would
had fun
have
with that one. I
so
had
much
fun.
encouragement. Yeah. And Men of Favor,
Yeah.
that's awesome. And then it also featured many national and international ministries and musical guests. And that's such an accomplishment. Congratulations.
And the reason why I was called His Favor, because as soon as I launched it already, like my second issue, I already had Joyce Meyer and Todd Delaney, all these big names, and people were contacting me, other publishers and editors and chiefs of magazines was like, what in the world?
Wow.
How did this happen? I've been trying to get this person for years. Or how did you even get Joyce Myers? I had no answer. I had no answer. So the whole thing about His Favor came about because I was like, I don't understand this. It has to be favor. It has to be favor. So that's why the name came about. I was talking to my content editor at the time. It was like, God's been showing so much favor. That's it. His Favor magazine. That's what we're going to call the new magazine. So it came from there. And that name definitely held up because so many doors, God just blew my mind under His favor.
I was just going to say, it sounds like a lot of doors just opened up.
Yes. He said, oh, you want to do His favor? I'm going to show you my favor. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you just what you named. So it was wonderful. Just one of great experience and meeting so many people from around the world on that platform. Those platforms, I would say, because it was more than one magazine at the time. So.
And that was, you were the editor and the publisher and the writer and all of it.
I did a lot until someone said to me, you're doing too much. You're at a point where you shouldn't have to do, everything. So of course, well, I always had someone to do the covers, but a lot of times I still did the layouts. But as time progressed, my wonderful sister now lives in Tennessee. Sarah Grace was phenomenal once she took over as far as the covers. I mean, people, who does your covers? Who does? I was like, Sarah Grace does all logos and stuff. So God blessed me to meet her. Some wonderful contributing writers. And when we started the other magazines, they ended up being editor-in-chiefs or fashion editors and stuff too. So it was this wonderful, like I said, that period of time was just a wonderful experience. Wonderful experience. And it also taught me that I don't have to do everything. There's other people out there that can do things, and I can let go. It's okay to let go, and even though it's your baby, and it's something that God gave you, it's okay to let the right people, I would say that, take over and really help out, that truly see the vision that you have as well.
Yeah, and God will position people to connect with you.
Yes, definitely.
To join it all together. You're just lighting up talking about that. So there's a lot of good memories there.
Yes, a lot of good memories. So if you see the little glow and smile, as I'm talking, actually, I'm thinking about so many opportunities. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
That was a great period. Great period.
Oh, that's good. And then you had the privilege to host a movie screening for the film Just Mercy under Warner Brothers.
Yes.
Wow.
I don't even know how that happened.
Wow.
They contacted me and asked if I want to do a movie screening. And I said, how does it work?
Wow.
And they told me, and my goal was just to pack the theater out. I did that with my team, and we had a good time, had a really good time. And that was a powerful movie at the time to showcase with Michael B. Jordan and Jamie Foxx. So, and then also being able to include Jamie Foxx in that issue was big as well, being able to have that interview in there. So it was, I was excited. And then the pandemic happened, and next thing I know, oh, no more movie screenings. I'm like, I wanted to do movie screenings.
Wow, well, congratulations.
But we'll see. We'll see. It was fun. It was fun.
So you've had a lot of success, and you've had a lot of opportunities, and with like you were saying, with the doors open and just a lot of success. So then a couple of years ago, you had a health issue happen.
Yes.
You
At
want to?
first, I something happened, and the first thing I was diagnosed with was anxiety disorder, and I didn't even realize that. And then later on, I always had headaches. I always was experiencing migraines, and didn't really know what this was. I would see black spots a lot, or my vision would be blurry at times, and so I finally went to the doctors, and they didn't know what it was. They first thought I had multiple sclerosis, MS. Come to
Okay.
find out I did not have that. I was later sent to a neurologist, and another MRI was done again. And he gave me a phone call and said I had a rare brain disorder called idiopathic intracranial hypertension, IIH pseudotumor, which
Wow.
basically my body thinks that I have a brain tumor when I really don't. So it's reacting as if I
Oh,
have it's reacting as if I have a brain tumor. So they call it a pseudotumor because it's a fake tumor.
so
So
you didn't really have one, but your body thinks you do.
yes, because of the fluid that builds up in your brain, your body, just thinks, oh, she must have a tumor. So let's react as if she has one. Let's give her migraines. Let's cause her to be tired all the time. Let's blur her vision. So it's doing all these different things because it thinks I have a tumor, basically.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's very rare. And then right afterwards, I went to my OBGYN. Was having some other issues. Come to find out, Shenee, you have polycystic ovarian syndrome. I'm like, are you serious? Two things, actually three, because I've the anxiety disorder too. I'm like, this can't be happening. So I found myself getting sick a lot, and things was getting pushed under the table as far as the magazine was concerned. And I finally went to my team and said, hey, we're gonna have to put it aside. I mean, some of them, said, we'll keep it going, but me, because it's still, in my heart, still my baby. I was like, I just, I understand, if you all want to continue, but, I just think it needs a rest for a minute. So I can get my health together, and I have some other things going on too. So, yeah, it was heartbreaking at the same time, but I knew it needed to be done so I can really figure out what this thing was about, and all the tests I had to go through, and doctors did blood tests and MRIs and all this. It was like it was just a lot at
So,
one time.
Shanae, how did the anxiety feel? What
The
did
first
that
time I really noticed it, it was a while back. Probably, I remember I was at my old job. I was a support employment coordinator, and I worked with individuals with autism. And I was coming from a job site, and I was just sitting in the car or something, sort of hyperventilating, and I didn't know what was going on. And come to find out, when I went to the hospital, they said I had an anxiety attack. I'm like, what the heck? Like, what's going on? How did it even happen? Because I wasn't thinking about anything. I actually wasn't stressed, or stress can have symptoms too, but I wasn't
Mhm.
stressed on anything, and it was just the onset. And I found myself, panicking all the time, and just worried about what's going to happen, and my leg would be shaking. But this time, it was really bad. Like I couldn't catch my breath. I couldn't catch my breath at all. And that's when I said, you gave me some medication to calm me down.
So, did you have like feeling like a heart attack or?
Yeah, I actually thought I was having that first experience. I actually did think I was having a heart attack. I
Yeah,
really
that
kind of
that's
it was.
common with an anxiety attack. Yeah.
It was hard to breathe. That's what really scared me. I was like, I can't breathe. What's going on? I was, telling God, if you want me to take me now, have somebody take care of my daughter. It was so much going through my head,
Yeah.
because I thought I was having a heart attack. But like I said, I'm not saying I'm thankful, but in a way I am, that it was anxiety disorder instead of, a heart attack, because I wouldn't want to have a heart attack.
Yeah.
Um, and because um, heart issues run on my dad's side, because he passed away from cardiomyopathy. So that was running through my head too. Like, I'm
Okay.
around age that my dad had his first heart attack. So, all that is going through my head. I'm like, I know they said it's hereditary, but why? What's going on right now? So again, all those things happening within 2 years. It was a lot, a
Yeah.
whole
So,
lot.
your anxiety on top of the pseudo brain tumor, and then the other health issues
Mm-hmm.
with the cysts. That's a lot.
It's a lot. Very,
That's
very much.
so how did you manage all that?
Be honest, I kind of didn't. And go figure, for my job. I'm a professional development trainer. One of the sessions I teach is managing stress. So here I am teaching other people how to manage stress. You need to do this and do that. I mean, people contacting me in my email. All the tips you gave was so wonderful. I wasn't following my own stuff. I was still, still, even though I didn't have the magazine, I was still trying to do other things, helping other people out with their ministries, or, getting involved with things, regarding my family, taking care of my daughter, and just so much other stuff I was doing instead of, only time I would rest is if my body made me rest. Like I would have to end up getting, not feeling well. Then I'll say, okay, let me rest. So I wasn't taking the steps to, actually do those things to, just to make sure I was in good health. So I have no one to blame but myself. I will say that nobody blamed but myself, but it was a huge lesson for me to take it more seriously. Like, Shenee, you really, because of one incident that happened that scared me the most, and my daughter, is she had to call the ambulance because I passed out in my bedroom. And that's when I said, okay, get it together, Shenee. Because and they had to do a spinal tap when they take a needle in your spine, and
Oh, that hurts. That one hurts.
Ooh, yes, and I've had it 3 times already. I already had it 3 times. So this particular time really got to me because I'm like, what if my daughter wasn't there? Even though I didn't want her to see that, I'm like, what if my daughter wasn't there? To call it, something could have happened. So you have to take it more seriously. Your health has to get better. Your eating habits have to get better. As far as your mental health is concerned as well, you really gotta get together. And that was a huge wake up call for me.
Do you feel like you kind of went into a burnout, a little bit of a burnout?
I did. I actually did. I was actually out of work for a while, and we can talk about that in a few. I'll wait for that part. But it was just a lot. Like, I definitely experienced burnout, and burnout is real. Some people still don't think it's real. Like, oh, people talk about, no, burnout is real. Your body burns out. Okay, it just does. It doesn't want to move. I was in bed. My mother had to come over just to cook dinner, and had to make sure my daughter was able to eat, making meals so she can just pop it in the microwave because I didn't even want to get out of bed. It got that serious.
And it's not a depression; it's just an exhaustion.
Yeah, you're exhausted. Now, if you're not careful, depression can enter in. Right. But it's mainly like your body is just like, sit me down. You're doing too much. It's just too much.
I think it's good for people to recognize the difference, because there's a lot of people with anxiety and depression, and a lot of people are working really hard, and burnout does happen, but it can look like depression, and that's completely different.
It can mimic the signs of depression. It can mimic the signs of stress too. But it's because sometimes you're not even stressed about anything, and you can start being anxious and like, what is going on? That's why it's a disorder, because it's not normal. It's not normal what you're being anxious about, and what you're like, it's an onset, like, what's going on? That's why it's a disorder.
Yeah, it's a combination that all kind of fits together somehow. Yeah. So how did you cope with all of that?
I started, seeking counsel. I ended up going to a therapist, and a counselor, because I had my spiritual end of it, and also I wanted to know the practical side of it, like what's going on with my brain, what's going on with my body. So I ended up seeking 2 different people, one to help out, on the spiritual end, and one to really help out, with the physical parts, because we're even though we're human, we're different parts. So and so I needed somebody for each side of me, so that I worked that out. And I had to at first I didn't set too many boundaries, but I had to learn to, just so I can get myself together. But it was hard. And today is even still hard. On September 28th, 2023, it's still hard with that, because I'm such a people person, and I love people, and I always want to be involved. So I'm still having to process that part of it. Just learning not to do too much, because sometimes I still want to, like, I want to jump in and help, and something. Nah, I remember what happened.
It's the personal boundaries.
Yeah,
the personal boundaries. Yeah,
a lot of it. Even the job, like, a lot of people are having a hard time, especially after the pandemic, and people are starting to go back into the jobs now. Just dealing with work-life balance. And I even had, like, I would sit there knowing I had a presentation. I do a lot of PowerPoints, and presentation. So if I know I had a presentation, I'm still five. I get off at 4, and I'm still 5:30 still online because I'm trying to. You're off at 4. Stop. It's time to put your mommy hat on. It's time to watch TV, cook dinner, do something. Get off the laptop. You're
Yeah.
done for. So I had to set even those type of boundaries too, to know when to quit. Because I see people do that too. If they have a task, they'll just keep at it, and next thing you know,
Yeah.
the whole day is gone, and they
Yeah.
didn't take time to smell the roses and enjoy themselves.
Yeah. I like to say it's time to just pause.
Mm-hmm.
Just stop, just pause. Yeah. Yeah. So you're still recognizing God's favor on you?
I am. It's been a moment, especially now. I would say even meeting you, the last 2 weeks have been phenomenal. I'm kind of
Oh, good.
because I just relaunched Shenee Shares, and I'm turning it into an actual YouTube and copying off of you. Turning it into instead of doing magazines. Now I dipped a little bit into doing some shows. I was doing a thing called The Road to Wholeness, and I was interviewing some dynamic people because we were strictly talking about healing and deliverance, those type of things. But this time, just almost the same as you, just sharing people's stories of resilience, because I have a story of resilience. So like if I have it, I know other people out there have it. So I'm basically doing that. And it's going to start October 23rd. So I am excited about that. A little nervous though, because it's most people know me as the magazines, and those type of things. So just seeing me doing something different, still in media, however, just on a different type of platform, and not just focusing on, who's the next big gospel artist, or who's the next big, thing. It's just, hey, extraordinary people sharing their stories of resilience. That's
Yeah.
the thing in a nutshell.
Yeah. And I think that what we go through, our challenges that we walk through, they make us stronger, and we learn the lessons that God wants us to learn, so that we can see his presence.
Definitely.
We reach for him, and we're going to find what we look for. We're always going to find what we want to look for.
Definitely.
So when we're in the challenges, and I say it's like when we're in the hallway, when the doors close and we're in the hallway, the other doors haven't opened yet, and we're just sitting in the hallway, and we've got our bags and our luggage and stuff, and we can't take it with us. So that's the challenging part, just to sort through the luggage and the baggage, and then when we're ready, God will open the doors again.
Love it. Yes. Pastor Linda. Talking there, got my tea out.
It's just, yeah, there's healing in the hallway though. There's healing in the hallway.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. So was there a life lesson you wanted to share with everybody?
One that I'm slowly still revealing, when you was talking about burnout and just doing too much. I have one more diagnosis. I actually found myself, so anybody who's watching, and those who say, oh my goodness, Shenee's just hopping back on social media. I was actually placed in a mental hospital. So that's where I was, about a week and a half, and then I ended up, just having to be off work for like almost 2.5 months. And come to find out, they actually diagnosed me as a manic depressant. I'm gonna say hashtag them slash bipolar disorder. So I kept saying, no, I'm not gonna accept it. I'm not gonna accept it. And part of me was like, accept it so you can pray about it, and and it take steps to change it. Being on all these different medications. I'm like, I'm already taking medication for all this other stuff, and now we gotta take these other medications. So it's been a challenge, because I still, fight with that. Sometimes depression does hit in, because, when I do, see, like you see my bio, when I do see stuff like that, it's like, how did I get here? How did I get to this point where I'm sitting here with a gown on, and, and they're watching my every move, and, all this stuff. And I'm Shenee. This is not supposed to happen to me. I'm away from my daughter. As a matter of fact, I was 6 hours away from my home. That's how far I had to go.
That would have been hard.
And yeah, so worrying about my daughter, my family. I'm like, here it is. I was like, but it was so amazing though, Linda, because during that time, um, I felt like I was being isolated for a reason. So I myself refocus. I took it differently than what I was there for. You know, what do I really want? What lesson can I get out of this? What needs to change? You know, even though it's a process, because every day, every day is something, you know, I'm still trying to get over. It's not an overnight thing. Some things are overnight, some things God, you know, that he takes you through a process. So I feel like that's what he's doing with me, because it's still some things I'm trying to work on. I will be very transparent with that. But just being there, you know, even in that state, because there was so many other people there that was, I wouldn't say was worse than me, but the things they were going through were totally different in their experience. And like, I even had one individual, you know, he believed in the devil. He worked, you know, and flat out told me, I worship Satan. He even had me he took my hand and had me feel his head. I think some type of way he was made some horns or something in his scalp. And it was weird because we were in group therapy, and I don't mind sharing this. We were in group therapy, and we was going around the table just saying, you know, what we're thankful for the week. And I wasn't paying attention for that split second. My mind drifted. I don't know if I got ADHD or what, but maybe that's another diagnosis. But my mind drifted a little bit, and everybody said, "Oh, that's so sweet." That's all I heard. I was like, I kind of, you know, looked around like, what are they talking about? And the therapist said, "Shenee, did you hear what he said?" And I said, "No." And she said, "Repeat it. I think she needs to hear that." He said, "Well, I'm thankful for the person sitting next to me." I was sitting next to him. He said, "Because every time I see her, she makes me smile." And it touched me. I was like, here it is, this person who worships someone that, you know, is supposed to be under my feet, the devil, and, you know, had me feel his head, you know, with as far as horns and stuff. And, you know, it's probably dealing with a bunch of, you know, other spirits that, you know, I'm not even going to mention. And for him to say that, I was like, God, you're still using me even in this state. And all I'm doing is being myself. I
Yeah,
was just being so friendly and nice and, you
and,
know, not
and
thinking.
he could sense the hope, and he could sense the love that you were carrying.
Yeah, and even when right the day when I left, when I got discharged, a couple of them came to me, gave me help. "We're gonna miss you. You know, you don't belong here. We don't want to see you here no more. You don't belong here. You just don't." And I'm like, and the thing is, I never really shared all the stuff that I, you know, did in the past. I was just there, you know, to get myself together, see when I need to, you know, the next steps I need to do, what medications I need to be on, and, you know, have them give me the proper diagnosis, you know, and get my mental side together. And it was just amazing. Like God was showing me, even in this, I'm using you. And you didn't have to do anything special, just be yourself. I'm like, wow. I always thought I had to be, you know, over the top, or, you know, hide who I was, and not be transparent. And I said, no, for now, I'm going to tell. I'm going to share about me, because I don't know who needs to hear it. I don't know who it may encourage. I don't have to wear a mask anymore, because during that time, it was no mask to put on, because everybody in there had issues. Everybody in there had different. So what mask were you putting on? It was no mask to put on, and just knowing at that moment, like, just be the light. That's all you gotta do. And a lot of times, I didn't even really share about Jesus during that. I wasn't preaching, or, you know, really, just, "Hey, hi, good morning. Oh, look, you having a nice, do you want that? Let me help you out." And just little, just being nice. And again, like I said, when I left, a lot of them just, you know, hugged me, and, you know, "We're going to miss you." And I was like, wow, okay, God, I see that you're using me in a different light now. And I get it. I can just be Shenee and be okay with that. And if I do have a hiccup, if I do, you know, have a moment where I'm not, you know, quote unquote perfect, because none of us are, you know, it's okay. It's okay. As long as I keep moving, and, you know, and don't stay where I'm at. If I fall, get back up. You know, it's okay.
And that's a big part of just go where he sends us, or go where he puts us, and just love the person that's in front of us.
Yeah.
Be kind and love that one person. And it sounds like that's really what you did, and they recognized it.
Yeah, because even with some of the nurses, one nurse said, she said, what do you do for a living? I said, "I'm a professional development trainer." And she said, "Okay." She said, "You ever work with elderly or people with disabilities?" I said, "Yeah, actually, I did before I came with the Department of Services. I worked with individuals with autism. I said, I've worked with the elderly." She said, "I can just sense it. Like, it's something about you. Like, everybody's gravitating to you. And I've been watching you, you know, past couple of days. And I'm like, something about her. She either in her profession, or I said, plus I just love people. Like I
That's
really do.
the fruit of the spirit that's coming out. That's the
Yeah.
gentleness.
I was about to get I was about to go into that. I said, I'm gonna keep it there because I don't want them thinking, put me back in my room.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah,
So
it was. I was embarrassed, I would say. When I came out and and having to share to a few people, like, what, pastor's daughter? Oh my goodness, and and did all this stuff and found herself. I didn't want to share too much, but now I'm like, who cares? Who cares? Because there's some people that should be in there themselves and they just won't admit it. But but who cares?
there's
This
there's a lot of
journey.
people going through a lot of stuff right now.
It's a lot. And whether they find themselves in a place like that, or they seeking counseling, or therapy, whatever that looks like, we all have our own journey to go through. So this was mine, and I don't have to be embarrassed about it anymore. So that's why now I'm more open to sharing what happened to me. Linda, I've been divorced twice, and I used to be ashamed about that. No man's gonna want me. I already been, one time's enough, but twice, and on top of that, she got a quote unquote baby daddy, and that's what they call it. And that neither one of her husbands are the father of her, her daughter. So all that stuff was like, and back in my mind, like, but she came from a Christian home. So what happened? So so I started feeling ashamed and embarrassed. I'm like, no, I don't have to be that no more. I don't have to. I don't have to at all, because when the son set free, he is free indeed. And it was weird because a friend of mine, he said, it's not even about being set free. Like, you want to be made free, because when things are set free, that it can come back. Because when you set something free, but when you're made free, so I even had to change my language even with that. It's like, no, who the son made free, I'm free, period.
That's
because being set free, I can always return, and I don't want to return. So every day, like I said, I had an upset yesterday. I had a moment where I was had a few tears and got into it with somebody, I'll admit. And I said, nope, not gonna do it. Just keep moving. Just keep moving, Shenee. Just keep moving. That's all you gotta do. And trust God in the process.
So where is God taking you now?
He is taking me now as far as one, and I'm just being so transparent. Just one, my main thing is, it has nothing to do with any YouTube channel or anything like that, is being a better mother to my daughter.
Yeah, and family is so, so important.
Yeah, and I know that
we're raising the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
And what we impart into them, they're going to carry to your grandkids.
Exactly. And my daughter has seen everything, even down, like I said, I told you how she was the one who, saw when I passed out. She saw when the police took me, to the hospital, and I had to end up getting, well, she didn't know exactly where I was, but she's seen a lot, to the point where she was having some issues herself, and I had to, seek out therapy for her.
But she's seen your strength and your resilience.
Yes. And when I told her I was going to interview with you, she gave me a hug. She gave me a hug. She said, what are you going to do tomorrow? She always wants to know what I'm going to do. Because I always like, when she gets home, I say, how was school? And she'd tell me, so how was your day? What are you going to do tomorrow? I was like, well, I have to, do a session. And then, in between, my lunch period, I'm going to do an interview. She's like, oh, okay. Well, mommy, you're doing it again. And gave me a hug. And it was like, wow, you're back at it again. So, right now, when people ask me, where do you see yourself now? Right now, it's focusing on my home. That's my first ministry. Even though I'm not married, I'm very mindful of that, and just being mindful of what she is seeing. Because at first it was almost like, she's not seeing anything. She's good. Until one day she revealed to me, I see some stuff, Mom. I do. She's older now. So even when I went my second divorce, and then one day she lashed out on me out the blue, because she's never done that, like, to that extreme. And when I grabbed her, telling her to calm down, she looked at me and just started busting out crying, like tears, just uncontrollable. I said, calm down. What is wrong? What is wrong with you? And she said, I never wanted y'all to get a divorce, and yelled at me. So I'm like, see, we don't even sometimes think about the people around us and the things that we do, how it affects them as well. Not even just our children, but our parents, our siblings, significant others. Everything we do is a trickle effect, and it hits everybody who's involved. So it really hurt her a lot. So I ended up calling him, saying, hey, can we work things out, at least for her behalf? Can we at least be friends? even though he's not her biological father, but he did play a huge role in her life. And I didn't think of that. I was so focused on her building her relationship with her biological father that I wasn't thinking she had already had this relationship with my former husband. So he was like, I do miss her, but I didn't know how you wanted to go about this. So, we worked those things out. But now my other prayer has been answered, and her biological father is stepping up now. So it's like, okay, God, I see what you're doing,
That's
So
good.
let me just sit back and, keep praying, keep, when you want to call me to fast, and just do what I need to do, and just wait to meet you when that day comes, so you can say, well done, my good and faithful servant. That's all I want to hear. But as far as some other things, like I said, I do know, the gifts and that I've put aside. I know God is he's putting those back into play. I want to sing again, because I used to sing all the time. Piano though, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to play piano again.
Well,
But as far as getting into ministry and more outreach stuff, that's what I grew up with. My parents were definitely heavy into outreach. So, I want to look into more doing that, and speaking, just sharing. That's why I named everything I'm doing now Shenee Shares, because that's what Shenee's going to do. She's going to share her story, and even share her platform. So somebody, wants to come on, hey, this is the platform for you, just like yourself. Share your story, because even though I went through some things, it may not be what someone else needs to hear. But somebody else's story may touch them. So yeah, definitely. Here's the platform. I show where I'm at right now.
well, that's incredible. And God's got the next step. It just is, we maybe don't know what it's going to look like, but as long as we're willing and ready, then he'll take us to the next step. Thanks so much for joining me here today, Shenee. And I know that there will be lots of women who've been inspired by your story. Just the resilience of that. That's a lot of diagnosis all at the same time. That's a lot. And you're a strong woman, and always with God, his favor and his love is with you. And he'll take us to the next step. So
amen, Linda.
Thank you so much, Shenee. And I look forward to talking to you again.
Of course.
Okay. And for people who've been encouraged and have found hope in this conversation, thanks for joining us. And I hope you'll subscribe to the channel. We'll see you again. Bye for now.